Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Tony Avina, also known as Odyssey Rock. I'm a t-shirt designer, a graphic artist, and a professional comic book colorist. And today I want to talk to you about 4 t-shirt designs that always sell. Before we get started, let's talk about leading, tracking, and kerning. Leading refers to the space between each line of text. Tracking is the overall letter spacing, and kerning is the space between individual letter forms. These 3 things can be the difference between a really good plain text design and a really mediocre plain text design. In this first design, I'm using Helvetica 95 black with the left paragraph alignment. I like to use a heavy sans serif typeface in this type of design because it really helps the design stand out when customers are scrolling through dozens and dozens of thumbnails. First thing I'm going to do is adjust the leading. I really want to get rid of the space between lines, and I'm also going to bring in the tracking so the letters are as close together as possible without touching. Once we have those about where we want them, we're going to go in and start adjusting the kerning. It's important to know that when you're dealing with kerning, it's not so much a science as it is an art. You don't need to measure between each letter and figure out how much space there is exactly between them. What you really need to do is see what looks visually pleasing. The way it was explained to me is the negative space between letters. You want to imagine that as a pitcher. And you want each pitcher to be able to hold roughly the same amount of liquid. So 2 letter forms such as lowercase b and lowercase l may be closer together than lowercase l and lowercase a. Or it could be the opposite. What you really need to do is just go in there and start playing with the kerning and see where it takes you. One of the most popular uses of this layout is in those designs that have all the ampersands. It'll be a list, it'll be a bunch of things that are like maybe characters from a TV show or a book, things that go together, names of friends, ingredients in a hamburger, or whatever. They're awesome, simple, fun, and a great way to round up your online shop. I've probably made more from these simple, quick designs than I have on designs that I spent hours and hours on. It's ridiculous. People really, really like them. I'm playing with the colors in this example, but you can do pretty much anything you want with these type of designs. White text on a black or colored shirt looks awesome. I hear a lot of people saying that text designs don't sell, and I just don't find that to be true. As long as you're putting out something that people like and the design looks nice, they'll buy it for sure. This next design is probably the one that I use the most out of anything. I find that it works well in any situation, whether you're dealing with plain text or something with an image. You're going to grab the ellipse tool, make it any shape you want. It doesn't really matter. Then you're going to grab the scissors tool and you're going to cut the anchor point at the left side and the anchor point at the right side. Then with your direct selection tool, you're just going to move that down and delete it. I want the remaining part of the ellipse to have a stroke instead of being filled in the way it is. So once I do that, I'm going to take the type on the path tool, click on the center anchor point, and make sure that my paragraph is centered. Now you'll notice everything's off to the right side, so what I need to do is grab this little line with the box and move it to the leftmost anchor point. I can do that with the direct selection tool, and then I can resize my type, I can kern it out, I can do all the things that I need to do. Now once I have that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a line of text beneath that, just a straight line across, and that's going to anchor our design. And any other text, graphics, or anything else is going to go between those 2 lines. What I want to do with this bottom line of text is make sure that it's centered, and then I'm just going to visually align it left to right with that line of text that's on the top on the curve. This is going to be a standard athletic type of design, so what I'm going to do here is take a rounded corner rectangle tool and just make a rectangle right in the middle. Then I'm going to take my type tool and type out XXXL, and then I'm going to make sure my type is white. Once I do that, I'm going to center it right in the box. And I think this looks great how it is, but you can add a little bit more to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the year, 2019. So 20 is going to be on the left side and 19 is going to be on the right side. Once I have everything in place, what I'm going to do is just start moving some of the elements around, resizing things, move some stuff up, move some stuff down. Anything I can do to make the design look a little more unified and visually pleasing. If I want, I can even add a line of text underneath everything that is maybe a punchline if it's a joke shirt or just some extra information. Just depends on what you're doing, really. I'm going to go ahead and make this line the same width as the rest of the design. I think that looks best, at least for my taste. You could see from the following examples that I really get a lot of mileage out of this design type of layout. Sometimes it's just text, sometimes I like to use graphics. Sometimes I'll change the shape of the top line of text so it's a little more curved, sometimes a little bit less curved. There's so many different ways that you can go with this, and it's really awesome. If you do like a Google search and just look up t-shirt designs, I'm sure you'll find a lot that follow the same exact model. Now, for the next design, I want to show you something again that's just plain text and really simple, but if you're creative, you can get a lot of different uses out of it. The typeface I'm using for this next design is Impact. You can use pretty much anything you want. It could be something heavy, something thin. I like a narrow typeface for this type of design because it gives you a little bit more room to work, in my opinion. The real trick with this type of design is figuring out which words you want to be big and which words you want to be small. And a lot of that is just done through trial and error. Sometimes you might picture it in your head exactly how it's going to go, and that's pretty awesome. But, most of the time, like any other kind of design, you're just kind of playing around with things. This type of design really works well for workout clothing. At least in my experience, that's where I've had the most success with it. It's big, it's bold, can take up most of the shirt, and you can add motivational sayings, inspirational quotes, other kind of workout slogans, and people really like it. I think people like to go to the gym and kind of show off. And speaking of slogans, now might be a good time since this is a pretty simple design and there's not really a whole lot to say about the process. It's a good idea to keep a notebook or the Notes app on your phone or something like that with ideas. Write down things you overhear people saying. You might say something funny to your friend, and that might make a good T-shirt. And that's where a lot of my best ideas came from, is just remembering something that I heard or I've said or anything like that. If you don't have a lot of experience writing your own slogans, it's very tempting, I know, to just go and see what sayings are already out there and do your own version of it in a layout. So you would take the exact text and just have a different layout that you maybe think looks better. But I find that if you can write your own slogans and practice it, you're going to get better at it and better at it. And you'll kind of realize what sells, what people react to. And just like anything else, it's going to take time. I know a lot of us want to make money right now. We need to make money right now. But the important thing is that we build something that's ours. And believe me, when you come up with something original, it's so much better than always having to worry about getting your designs taken down or DMCA'd. I can't tell you how many times over the years I've heard people complaining that their design got DMCA'd or taken down or whatever because they weren't making original content. When you're making original content, there's nobody to take your design down. And it really isn't as hard as it seems, it just takes some work. If you really work at it, you're going to get better at it. It's going to get easier, and pretty soon the ideas will just be flying. Back to this design that I'm working on right here. Sometimes I just like to do it with plain text, one color like this. I've been trying other things with it. Sometimes I'll outline it and fill the inside with art, various things like you can see in these examples. As far as t-shirt designs go, this one's pretty foolproof. I mean, there's not really much more to say about it. So let's move on to the next one. Our fourth and final design, we're going to start with an object that I already had drawn, and that's going to go on the left. And to the right of that, we're going to have 2 lines of text. You can have 3 lines of text, 4 lines of text. It really doesn't matter. The important thing with this one is 1 line of text is the setup, and the second line of text is the punchline. And that's it. And we just basically, you want to get all your design in there, get everything lined up. Again, it helps if all of the lines of text are the same left to right, that they are, I guess, basically justified is what you'd call it. And then you can start playing with your colors or whatever. And it's very simple, it's very effective, it works really well. And this is another one I've had a lot of success with. In fact, I know a lot of other t shirt artists who have a lot of success with the same type of layout too. Like again, the main thing here is you want to just come up with something that's appealing and something that people like. So you lay your design out and you just make your adjustments, and you get everything done in a couple of minutes, and then you can start selling it. You can see some of my examples that I've done. And that's about it. It's really simple, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I plan on doing more. Stay tuned for the next one, and thank you for watching.